Humanoid aliens crash on Earth during the reign of dinosaurs 65 million years ago. Welcome back to Movies Explained. Today's film is an action fantasy from 2023 titled 65. The movie begins on a planet named Somaris, where a family is having a good time at the beach. Mills and Alia, the mom and dad, are watching their daughter, Naveen, as she tries to whistle. Mills, faced with financial struggles for Naveen's medical treatment, attempts to break the news that he's going on a 2-year exploration assignment. To his surprise, Naveen already knows about his trip. So, he goes on his assignment as a pilot for a spaceship carrying people in cryogenic sleep. The ship passes an undocumented asteroid belt and gets rained by pieces of meteorite. Mills rushes to the cockpit and sends an emergency signal while guiding the ship to the nearest planet as it breaks apart. He watches the ship crash and thinks about his daughter before passing out. He wakes up minutes later to the ship's system saying they're somewhere new. He removes a piece of metal from his stomach and uses a tool to fix the wound. Then, putting on his spacesuit, he checks the ship and sees that the sleeping pods are all broken. After leaving the ship, Mills takes a laser gun for protection and steps into a swamp where a creature circles him from underwater. He searches around and finds out that all the other passengers are dead. Mills goes back to the ship and realizes that the escape pod is on the other half of the ship, which has landed in an unknown location. He decides to send a distress signal, stating that he landed on an uncharted planet and everyone is dead, so there's no need for rescue. Mills intends to shoot himself, but can't bring himself to do it because of Naveen. Mills collects all the tapes containing Naveen's messages when he detects a functioning cryopod nearby. He quickly investigates and finds a young girl still alive inside the pod. He promptly removes her from the pod and starts to return to the ship. While returning to the ship, Mills spots a massive paw print on the ground, which reveals that the planet they crashed into is Earth, 65 million years ago, when dinosaurs roamed the land. That night, Mills has dreams about Naveen, who's asking him his whereabouts. The following day, Mills sets out to explore the area to find a way to save the girl and escape from the planet. He comes across huge bones and almost gets hit by a blast of acid from a geyser. A gleaming object in the distance catches his eye, which after a scan, turns out to be the other half of the ship perched on a mountain. Mills is attacked by a small dinosaur, but he manages to overpower and kill it with his gun. He hears more noises, prompting him to investigate. He finds that the girl has run away from the ship. Mills chases after her, and they both end up falling down a ledge, where they discover a dead dinosaur. Out of nowhere, the trees begin to shake violently. Mills spots a larger creature heading their way, and quickly grabs the girl to take her back to the ship. As he tends to her wound, he attempts to talk to her. He finds out that her name is Koa, but they face a language barrier, and the ship's translator is malfunctioning. Mills uses a red powder to draw a mountain on the table, emphasizing the importance of reaching that destination in order to escape. Koa joins him and draws her parents, understanding the concept of family. To get Koa to follow his plan, Mills lies about her family being in the mountains. Later, Mills sends an additional SOS message, requesting rescue because there's a young survivor. Meanwhile, Koa finds and plays Naveen's video messages. It becomes clear that Naveen's illness deteriorated during the initial year of Mills's journey, eventually needing hospitalization. Initially, her messages were filled with joy and admiration for her dad. However, over time, her emotions shifted to anger as she felt let down by his absence. Mills discovers Koa watching the tapes and shuts them off, declaring that they are leaving. With their bags packed with supplies, Mills and Koa venture into the wilderness, taking care to remain silent and avoid drawing the attention of predators. During their journey, Koa spots a red glow in the sky, but decides to keep it to herself. As they continue, she gets tired of walking and starts picking berries from a bush, tossing them at Mills for fun. Mills, slightly annoyed, uses his scanner to check if the berries are poisonous and warns Koa not to eat them. Soon after, a large bug lands on Mills's neck. He slaps it dead, leaving his hand covered in a sticky substance. Trying to rub it off, he makes Koa laugh. Mills then jokingly tries to touch her with his slimy hand, but their laughter is cut short by a small tree falling across their path. Hearing odd noises from behind a ledge, they discover a small dinosaur stuck in a tar pit. Koa rushes to help the dinosaur, and Mills reluctantly assists her in making it quick. However, after gaining its freedom, the small creature takes a few steps before being swiftly attacked and killed by a group of predators. Mills quickly pulls Koa into hiding as she screams in distress at the creature's death. After the danger has passed, the pair carry on their journey, making a pit stop at a waterfall to clean up and refill their water bottle. Mills checks his stomach wound, feeling concerned, but the sight of Koa reminds him of his daughter Naveen, which motivates him to continue. Shortly after, Mills' scanner loses track of the mountain they are heading towards. He decides to climb a tree for a better view to rescan the area. While up there, a bug lands on his hand, and as he shakes his arm to get rid of it, he accidentally breaks the branch he's on, causing him to fall and dislocate his arm. Koa helps him pop his arm back into place, using a tree for support. Their noise attracts a group of nearby dinosaurs. Mills instructs Koa to push against his arm, with her foot to help align it. After fixing his arm, he quickly starts shooting at the approaching dinosaurs. He tells Koa to run, while he sets off several small explosives, taking out many of the dinosaurs. The remaining dinosaurs relentlessly attack Mills, and he responds by shooting each one individually. Meanwhile, Koa runs towards the beach and hides behind a log. As a group of flying dinosaurs approaches, the predators from earlier discover her presence. Just as they are about to attack, Mills arrives and quickly eliminates them all. Suddenly, a flying dinosaur sneaks up on Koa, grabs her, and pulls her away. Mills pursues them and frightens the creature off with a single shot. After the attack, Koa is too frightened to continue or even be in Mills's presence, so he sits down and gives her time and space to calm down. As darkness falls, Mills recalls how he used to whistle to soothe Naveen and decides to give it a try. She responds with her own whistle, and they agree to keep going on their journey. The pair finally arrives at a cave where they plan to stay for the night. Mills installs motion sensors to detect potential danger and scans the sky with his scanner. He finally notices a meteorite nearby, but he doesn't worry because it's small. Koa surprises him by bringing one of Naveen's tapes. Initially angry, Mills eventually decides to play the tape as it brings comfort to both of them. Mills is unable to sleep as thoughts of the day Alia informed him about Naveen's passing in the hospital consumes his mind, leading to tears. In the middle of the night, Mills is awakened by the sensors alerting him to imminent danger. He quickly notices a bug in Koa's mouth and kills it with one of the sensors, causing Koa to cough up the remnants. Suddenly, the sensors go haywire because a massive T-Rex emerges from outside the cave. Mills fires a few shots before he and Koa make a quick escape through a small opening at the rear of the cave. Unaware of a smaller dinosaur tailing them, the two start searching for an escape route. Mills attempts to open up a narrow gap between two rocks, but despite his efforts, he achieves minimal progress and ultimately abandons the idea. Koa is frustrated and wants to continue trying, fixated on the word family. Mills tries to say that her parents are dead, but of course, she doesn't understand. Mills decides to use a few bombs to create a hole, large enough for Koa to pass through. He then gives the remaining bombs to Koa for her safety as she explores. She squeezes through the tight opening and confirms that there is sufficient space on the opposite side. Mills then attempts to follow her, but the hole collapses abruptly, causing Mills to yell in frustration as he loses contact with Koa. Mills hears Koa's whistle, but he senses a dinosaur approaching. He quickly grabs his gun and heads back to the previous cave. He uses his scanner to locate the dinosaur and shoots it. However, the dinosaur strikes him, causing him to lose his grip on the gun. After being attacked, Mills uses his scanner to emit a high-pitched sound that hurts the dinosaur's ears. He seizes the opportunity to shoot it dead. Meanwhile, Koa manages to exit the cave. Exploring the forest alone, she discovers a bone that can be used as a weapon. To ensure its effectiveness, she carefully wraps it with poisonous berries and a large leaf before stowing it away in her bag. Shortly after, Mills successfully exits the cave. As he gazes upon the horizon, he discovers a colossal meteorite rapidly approaching the planet. With his scanner, he uncovers that the previous meteorite he observed was merely a fragment of a much larger one. This impending impact is set to occur within a few hours, leading to a catastrophic extinction event. He quickly searches for Koa and is alerted by her scream as a dinosaur approaches her. Koa quickly seeks refuge inside a tree trunk as Mills approaches, but unfortunately, he stumbles into a pit of quicksand. He attempts to reach out to Koa, but gradually sinks until he can't talk. Koa hears Mills's call and patiently waits for the dinosaur to enter the tree trunk before throwing the bombs and making her escape. Koa reaches the quicksand and extends a helping hand to Mills by bending over a tree. Now free, Mills and Koa hug tightly before he explains the meteor situation to Koa as they make their way to the mountain. At nightfall, they reach the foot of the mountain. Mills secures Koa with a rope, and she begins climbing and then cleverly fastens the rope around trees and rocks to ensure it can support Mills's weight when he climbs up too. Shortly after, they discover the remaining portion of the ship. Mills switches on the ship's system and receives the coordinates of a rescue vessel. Meanwhile, Koa searches for her family and eventually discovers the wrecked cryopods, which fills her with anger toward Mills for deceiving her. Mills, with tears streaming down his face, pulls out a photograph of Naveen. He reveals that he tragically lost his daughter while he was working, and this experience has made him determined to prevent such a tragedy from occurring again. Koa tearfully embraces Mills as he apologizes for everything. Mills and Koa quickly seek shelter in the escape pod as the smaller meteorite fragments rain down on Earth. Mills prepares to push the launch button, but a meteorite strikes the ship, causing the pod to plummet down the mountain in a flipped position while they're both unconscious. Koa is the first to wake up and immediately presses the launch button. However, the computer informs Koa that it cannot launch in its current position. As Mills wakes up, a T-Rex appears and starts attacking the pod. Mills takes a chance and leaves the pod to retrieve his gun that fell on the ground, only to find out that it's jammed. As another T-Rex joins the attack, Mills quickly takes cover behind a piece of the ship, where he adjusts the gun configuration. Meanwhile, Koa finds herself surrounded by dinosaurs. She uses Naveen's tape and activates the scanner, projecting a hologram of Naveen outside the ship. Mills weeps as he believes he will have a final encounter with his daughter before his death. However, the dinosaurs are deceived and start attacking the holographic projection instead. Mills takes advantage of the distraction and shoots down the first T-Rex while the other desperately tries to reach Koa by pushing the ship. Mills fires at the other T-Rex, who is following them closely. The pod is now in the correct position for launch, thanks to the T-Rex's help. Mills tries to enter the pod, but the previously injured dinosaur reappears and chases him. Mills leads the dinosaur to the acid geysers, where it is doused with a scorching blast of acid, but the dinosaur survives. Koa arrives and stabs its eye with the bone she had taken beforehand. The dinosaur flails and steps onto another acid geyser, causing the blast to hit its stomach and ultimately dissolving it to death. Mills and Koa return to the pod and take off just in time to escape the meteorite impact that causes the extinction of dinosaurs on Earth. Once the pod exits the atmosphere, the autopilot will direct it to the designated meeting point, where a rescue vessel will be ready and waiting. The movie ends with Mills closing his eyes and thinking of Naveen, while Koa offers comfort by holding his hand. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe for more videos.